Hello, I'm Jantien Powell. This is Chapel Cottage Studio. Today I'm going to show you how to do some reflections in pastels. I'm going to be using unison pastels, always the nicest ones. Beautiful pastels, very soft, very creamy on the paper, and they will move around a lot for you, which is lovely. And I'm using paper by Fabriano. This is my favourite pastel paper. It's called Fabriano Tiziano. Comes in a variety of colours. Very nice paper to use with a little bit of a tooth on it. I've got here a little pastel painting that I've started. It needs some water down the bottom. It needs some water and some reflections. So let's have a go. First of all, reflections are a mirror image of the top. So I'm going to go to my pastels and I'm going to create a bit of a mirror image of what's going on at the top. So I need some very dark. By here, I'm going to make a second bank going in the opposite direction. I'm putting my pastels on very roughly. We don't need to do any details or anything like detail. Let's get my middle green or just a yellow. That'll be fine. Get the top of the bank in a little bit brighter. There we are. And I'm going to put in the little house. We need the reflection of the house, of course. Reflections are always vertical. And I'm not worrying about the shape of the house. I'm just getting this vertical shape coming down the paper. This little outbuilding here is in a tan colour. So we'll get that on there with a little white roof. Pop that on there. And the background here is a really dark green. Reflections are always a tiny bit darker than the surface above them. So we'll get the background in. Again, I'm doing it very roughly. I don't care at all whether I've got every shape correct. It's not important. But I am getting an idea of a mirror image. I'm going to put a little bit of the light yellow on it, where I can see a bit of light. There we are, that's my mirror image there. I can see that my one line isn't straight, we'll put that right. Window by there. Now I'm moving on to the mountain behind it, and again keeping this mirror image going. And it's going to go right up to the bottom of my paper here. That sounds funny, right up to the bottom. Pop that in really roughly. And I'm going to do a little bit of blue on top of it. Get the colour right, whoops. And the tiniest bit of greeny yellow on top of that as well. But again, keeping it all very rough. There's another little mountain coming this side. Let's get him in. And a little bit of lilac on it. Then we have to mirror image the sky in the middle, which is white at the base, putting plenty of pastel on, lighter blue up at the top. I'm not worrying about the clouds at all. They're not important. What I do want is a good layer of pastels. I need to fill up the paper grain with the pastel because I want it to be very mobile afterwards. So I'm adding a bit more here. If you use these unison pastels, they do go on very thick, very beautifully, and they layer wonderfully. Now those two little trees need to go in I have to make sure that they're vertically underneath. Here's one, oh, by there, and another one by here, which is leaning slightly. And again, it's going to be a very rough impression of what they look like. Put a few branches in. There we are. Add a little bit of this light colour. You can see that I'm not putting in any specific little leaves or anything like that. Just a very rough colour. So there's my mirror image, done very roughly. This is the ugly stage of the picture. Okay, I'll turn around to show you the next bit. Now this is where the magic happens with pastels. I've layered up a nice lot of pastel, so there's plenty of pastel on the paper. Now I'm going to use the side of my hand. I'm going to use this part of my hand here. And I'm putting it across the top of the water there. And I'm dragging vertically. It's got to be completely vertical. After every pass, I'm wiping my hand. Drag it down vertical. You can see already the water is coming. There we are. Drag it down. Move along. Drag it down. Wipe my hand clean. Move along. All the way across to the end of the picture. And you can already see the transparent water, the reflections going down. Now we're going to finish this picture off by putting a little bit of surface on the water. So I'm going back to my white pastel. I'm going to put a little bit of a ripple across the bank. Maybe I'll leave a little gap here and there. And then down here, little ripple across the bank where the water reaches the bank. And then if I use my white pastel on the side, use the whole side and pull it very, very gently across the top of the water, I'm going to create a shine on the surface of the water. I'll wipe it clean, go again, and once more. And then the reflections go down, the surface comes across. I'll just fill that little gap in there. And I'll finish it off. A couple of little dots on the water and maybe a little ripple or two. And there we are, reflections in the water. Thank you very much.